The airfield at Ben Hoa is located 25 kilometers northeast of Saigon. Army aviation crews here are busy servicing a UH-1B helicopter gunship. They are getting it ready for another combat assault mission, and the checklist is thorough. Now, late in April, the daily duties of aircraft crews include maintenance and rearming. Here, 2.75 rockets are loaded into the gunship pods. Some choppers carry as many as 24 rockets. While the airlifting of troops and materiel remains the prime function of the chopper in Vietnam, the armed helicopter is affording assault commanders a support weapon ideally suited to warfare in the jungles, swamps, and brushy countryside of Southeast Asia. These gunships, originally armed with small-bore automatic weapons, are today little short of flying arsenals. In recent weeks, some of these combat ships have been augmented with 20-millimeter cannon, greatly increasing the firepower of these choppers. M60 machine guns on flexible mounts are standard, along with the smaller M16s. From their vantage point overlooking enemy positions in the undergrowth below, the pilots can lay down suppressing fire with maximum effect. Unlike fixed-wing aircraft, the choppers offer complete maneuverability in the immediate target area. Gunships of this aviation battalion have flown more than 4,000 sorties during the month of April, hitting the Viet Cong where he lives. Since the 1st of January 1965, the aviation battalion flying out of Ben Hoa has received 2 Distinguished Service Crosses, 15 Silver Stars, and a host of other decorations. At a forward landing zone outside of Cu Chi, 24 kilometers northwest of Saigon, U.S. infantry troops receive delivery of ammunition and food as the helicopters carry out a different kind of mission. The resupply choppers bring in their cargoes, and unloading begins at once. Discharge and pickup is accomplished in minutes, and the Hueys soar away toward their home base. One of the most unusual missions performed by the Army aviation helicopters is seagoing duty in support of U.S. naval operations along the rivers and waterways of South Vietnam. Aboard the USS Tortuga, somewhere in the South China Sea, flight deck takeoffs and landings are practiced by the Army flyers. Operating from the converted LSD-26 while it is underway requires some getting used to. This unit of Army helicopters, calling itself the Sea Wolves, flies security cover for the naval patrol boats as they run up the coastal rivers. The thousands of miles of delta land waterways are systematically combed to prevent the Vietnamese communists from moving men and supplies by boat. For now, the flying is finished for the day. Tomorrow, these gunships will shuttle back and forth along the coast, hunting Viet Cong targets of opportunity. In all, it is a most unusual experience for these Army flyers. On 9 April, a C-130 lands at Tuy Hoa airstrip to help airlift a battalion of the 101st Airborne. From Tuy Hoa, north of Cam Ranh Bay, all of the unit's personnel and equipment will be flown to Phan Thiet to take part in Operation Austin. Later, passing over the Phan Thiet staging area, the C-130 completes the 280-kilometer flight to the adjacent Phan Thiet Army airfield. Here, the paratroopers debark with their personal equipment, followed by a 2.5-ton truck. The airlift continues as a Chinook delivers additional troops and equipment. Phan on the coast due east of Saigon will serve as the base for this search and destroy operation. The buildup of the battalion base continues as another Chinook delivers a sling-loaded, lightweight M102 howitzer, which is quickly prepared for firing. On 12 April, Operation Austin kicks off with an airstrike on suspected VC areas near Phan Thiet, on both sides of the border between Binh Thuan and Binh Thuy provinces. By 13 April, the paratroopers are well along on their search and destroy operation. Finding some unfinished bamboo structures, they decide the VC were interrupted while constructing a rest camp and tear it down. This platoon will make no other contact for 5 days. However, near the battalion CP on 15 April, a 4.2-inch mortar crew is called on to support another reconnaissance platoon under attack. On 19 April, the paratroopers capture and interrogate 2 VC, one of whom has been wounded. By 21 April, Operation Austin nets a total of 25 VC killed and 21 suspects questioned. This particular interrogation causes them to modify their route as the operation continues. The airstrip at An Khe is the scene of havoc caused by communist terrorists. The office housing the passenger booking service is a shambles as a result of explosives concealed under the desk and set off during the night of 20 April. This C-130 aircraft was also damaged by the infiltrating terrorists who penetrated the air base defenses undetected. In the darkness, the enemy planted several explosive charges. One of the hidden devices blew the bottom out of this aircraft. In addition, other areas of the base were also damaged. In another attack upon an airfield 2 days later, the Viet Cong launched a surprise mortar attack against the Pleiku Air Base, 72 kilometers west of An Khe. In this incident, several airmen were killed while on guard duty. The Viet Cong struck at 0200 hours, and the mortar shelling completely destroyed 2 aircraft and damaged a number of others. All aircraft were parked in revetments at the time of the attack. In the broad light of day, the full extent of the damage is determined, and the work of salvaging and repairing begun. On 28 April, a Vietnamese civilian plane taking off at the Kon Tum airport crash-landed at the end of the airstrip, killing 3 people and injuring a number of persons living near the field. U.S. Army personnel of this 1st Air Cavalry Division forward area aid the pilot and other victims. A U.S. sergeant brings an unconscious girl to medical aid. Here, medics note her heart has stopped and hurry to the treatment tent. Another victim is x-rayed by field equipment. The pilot is brought to the medical unit. Extreme emergency treatment, including pure oxygen, is given the lifeless child. The distressed father of the girl is comforted by an American sergeant. Physical stimulation of the heart and other treatment continue for half an hour before heart action is restored. Her condition remained critical. On the 1st of May, the National Memorial Cemetery of the Pacific is dedicated in Honolulu, Hawaii. Located in the Pu'o-Waina crater, an extinct volcano overlooking the city of Honolulu, the 112-acre cemetery is the last of 18 national memorials to be dedicated to the dead of World War II and Korea. Admiral U.S.G. Sharp, Commander-in-Chief Pacific, heads the list of dignitaries to inspect the Honor Guard. Host for the ceremonies is the American Battle Monuments Commission. In the audience of more than 5,000 are congressional representatives, veterans groups, American war mothers, official state groups, and civic groups. The Honor Guard is composed of military personnel selected from each of the nation's armed services. Beginning the ceremonies is retired General Jacob L. Devers, chairman of the Battle Monuments Commission.
It is a great privilege and a great honor to welcome you to this ceremony of dedication of a national memorial. This is the last to be completed of the 18 memorials erected by the American Battle Monuments Commission in tribute to the sacrifices and to honor the achievements of its men and women of the armed forces during World War II and in Korea.
Then the Honorable John A. Burns, Governor of the state of Hawaii.
We are most highly honored that Hawaii was selected as the site for one of our most historical shrines, the National Memorial Cemetery of the Pacific. We fully appreciate the high privilege of providing the last resting place for America's brave men and women who gave their lives for our nation.
The principal speaker of the day is Admiral U.S.G. Sharp, Commander of U.S. forces in the Pacific.
Today we are gathered here to honor these Americans who are missing from the campaigns in the Pacific during World War II and the Korean conflict. The attack on Pearl Harbor sparked a conflict which flamed and spread throughout the Pacific. Midway, Guadalcanal, Tarawa, Saipan, Leyte, Iwo Jima, Okinawa, and finally, Tokyo Bay. Less than 5 years after the final shot was fired in World War II, communist aggression broke out in Korea. Twice in less than a decade, Americans were called upon to make the ultimate sacrifice in the cause of freedom. In dedicating this monument to the memory of missing American heroes, we should commit ourselves to continuing the task they struggled to advance, to realize for our generation on this earth a continuous rebirth of freedom, the true revolution for the rights of men and the rule of law and peace. In the spirit of this commitment, and in the name of the people of the United States of America, I declare this memorial to be dedicated in proud remembrance of the achievements of these heroic men and women and in humble tribute to their sacrifice.
Now comes the most solemn moment of the occasion, as the combined U.S. Army and Marine bands play the historic hymn, Abide With Me. Admiral Sharp places the wreath of the President of the United States at the Monument of the Missing. This is the first of many floral tributes presented this day. At the conclusion of the formal ceremonies, the new National Memorial is inspected by the public. Overlooking the monumental stairway is a 30-foot figure of Columbia, flanked by 8 memorial courts of the missing. Thus, a grateful country pays homage to its honored dead of World War II and Korea.